Hey guys, I was just curious. Does anybody happen to know who Katie Blackburn is? Well, we're probably in the same boat because up until yesterday, I didn't know who she was. She happens to be the executive vice president of the Cincinnati Bengals, and here recently at the owners' meetings that just took place, she came out and said about Trey Hendrickson that he should be comfortable at a rate that maybe he doesn't realize he should be comfortable at. And it kind of makes you wonder, why come out and say that, right? I mean, negotiating, in a public forum like that, rarely goes well, and rarely do the fans side with, with the front office, when these types of things are going on. But, again, you talk about a guy who isn't only a star pass rusher, but a guy who is, the face of your defense for sure. When you look at, maybe what he's got working against him, he's a guy who's 30 years old and looking for his fourth contract in the NFL. Not the most ideal of circumstances when you're looking for a substantial raise and extension, but again, a guy who, when you look at what he's meant to that team, in terms of on the field, he's a guy who's led the league in total sacks over the last 2 years. He's got 17 and a half, in both previous seasons. He's gone to four straight Pro Bowls. A guy who is a pillar in the community. A leader on and off the field. He wears that C on his chest. Very well respected and highly thought of. In the organization, in the locker room. So you figure, you treat somebody like that with a little bit more respect, especially when you consider that he's come out and said, "Listen, I'm not trying to reset the market. I'm just trying to get what's fair. I don't need to be the highest paid. Just simply, compensating me for what I've done and what I mean to this team." But again, when you look at the Bengals as an organization, this is just typical them, right? These most recent extensions of Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, notwithstanding, this is a organization who's cheap across the board, when it comes to scouting department and everything like that. They operate at a fraction of what other teams operate at. They're reluctant to pay their players and everything like that. So again, just a really bad look, when it comes to taking care of one of your own. So my advice would be, listen, you want to do better on the field, you should probably consider doing better off it, if I'm being honest. And so do right by your players, and I think that probably go a long way. But that's all I got, guys. Do me a huge favor, like and subscribe, and I Hate Football podcast. I'll talk to you guys soon.